Now introducing how to use the PM2000 programmable microinjector. The introducing including two portions. One is for how to set up the injection system and how to set up the PM2000. And then the second portion will tell you how to adjustment, and also is regarding all the injection, how to operate the machine. After you hook up the pressure source, you can turn on the machine, and then you can see that the PM2000 display, and gave you the first floor gave you that the input pressure they specify 76 psi. That's enough. Usually the input pressure we require from 60 psi and up to 90 psi. Don't exceed 90 psi, which is too high pressure will damage the unit. Okay, now you can press the mode key. You can see the sequence setup. On this sequence, they set as a sequence 1. They up to 16 sequence you can set up for it. You can set up the first step, clear hole and balance or something like that, and then you can see the cursor flash on that one. That means you can programmable that the full switch for injection or hole or whatever. So all the function you can set up for the full switch. Now we can set up the full switch as the inject, something like that, and then you can go to the second mode, which is indicate all the pressures right now. So you can see the fill pressure, which is the vacuum, is 7.6 negative psi, and up to 13 negative psi. But usually we don't have to set up that high. It's 8, something like that, 7, that's enough. And then go to the we can see the inject. Now the inject indicator is 40.9 psi. Usually on the initial setup we don't have to set up that too high. Usually set up as 20 psi, something like that. But depending your pipette opening, if your pipette opening is very small, and definitely you need to set up higher psi for the injection. And the balance now is 0. Okay, you can set up point something to up to 10 psi. Usually the depending the pipette opening if smaller, and then the balance pressure is higher. And then the hole pressure, that means used for the hole output for holding the MBO, holding the folding cell, something like that. And you can see the PM2000, they come with the two output. One is for the injection, suction on one port. Another for hole, clear hole, and the stop hole, something like that, for the holding folding cell or embryo cell, something like that. Okay. And now you can press the injector, I mean the full switch for injection on this port, and you can press the mouser, a special mouser on this port. Okay, and then put and this DB9 port is for the optional that the outside remote control or computer interface, which is the data comes out exactly the same as the keypad. Okay, so you can use outer source to control as you press the keypad. Okay, there's a free BNC connector right here, which is gave you the application for that, the synchronized with the outside recording system. For example, you're doing some patch cam recording, you can use this BNC signal out. This two BNC is for the signal out. This one is for the injection signal. That one is for the suction signal. On this one, response for this output port. And this port is for the trigger from the output, for the input, which is you can input the negative TTL signal to control the trigger the sequence, whatever you set up for the sequence. Or you can press this one to the ground and then trigger, same as the negative TTL trigger. Now we can go to the second mode, then another mode, which is the timer mode. Right now, all the timers setting a manual control. You can set up as for the some time. For example, now you can set up millisecond or second, something like that, and pass this one second and millisecond keypad to switch between the millisecond and second setup. So for example, right now you set up the millisecond, and then you can set up 10 millisecond, 20, 30, 40, 50 to add up for it. Or you can set up 100, something like that. But on this first initial time, we always set up to the manual. When you set up the manual, you pass the 0 back to this manual. So right now, all the timers manual. That means first of all, I show you how to control the timer manually, and then if you have some kind of experience and also have some kind of fixed quantity injection, now you can set up a different timer. Now go to the next mode, the count mode. That means every time you press the trigger, every time you press the whatever is inject or clear, something like that, initial one, only one action. You can set up pass 1 for 2 action, and then you can add up 2, 3, 4, something like that, and then you back to 1. Usually you set up all the action is 1. So be careful when you switch to the other sequence. All the counting will different. So every time you make sure you on the correct sequence, on the correct timer or counting setup. Okay, now go to the last mode, which is the action mode. Now in this mode, you can ready for any action. So first of all, you can see all the action line right here. There's no any action on the port. Okay, and first of all, remember every time do all the injection, you have to pass the balance first. Okay, why you have to pass the balance first? Say because now you're doing microinjection. Deal with all the pipette is very small. They came with very heavy the capillary action, which is will suck up the liquid because capillary action. So you have to issue the balance to against that the capillary action. Now as you can see this one inject. So as if you press this one, you will inject manually. You can see depending your press how long, and then or suction, something like that. Clear and clear hole when you hook up the pipette like this. So the pipette like this, that's for the holding pipette. Now you can see the inject pipette. We already hooked up on the inverted microscope. Later on, I will show you how to apply the different size for that pipette opening, for that the different balance adjustment and also the injection. Now we're back to the setup. So usually all the setup is like this. Or you can say you can see 4 nut right here. This one is for the whole vacuum adjustment, field vacuum adjustment. Whole vacuum adjustment is only for this port. The field vacuum adjustment for that port. Injection pressure adjustment for this output port also. The balance also for the this port. So free regulator, free pressure regulator is for this port. Only this one for the whole port. Okay. So when you use only this port for the injection, you don't have to carry this one and that port. Okay. So it's for example, now you already passed the special mouse for that the control. What's the function for the mouse? So you can see that there's a 3 button right here. One is for the injection, another is for the holding. Oh, this one for the not the holding. I'm sorry. This one is for the auto sequence trigger. So you press one and then the step by step for that the trigger. Okay, you can see the step by step depending what you set up on that the balance. Okay, now you set up the balance. So this key, the rightmost key is for the suction, the leftmost key for the injection. The first switch, now in the beginning you set up as an injection. So actually that the first switch is programmable. You can set up program this first switch, control all 8 functions right here. Okay, whatever function right here, you can program that the first switch for that function. Now you now all the setup already finished. So next step we will go to how to deal with the different pipette opening, how to adjust the balance. That's very important for the microinjection. Now I show you how to apply that the pipette opening is very small, which is we're talking about less than 1 micron on the tip opening. So you can look at that screen, which is indicated on that the setup right over there. We use that the pipette is that the tip is very tiny. That the opening is less than 1 micron. Usually is 0.2, 0.3, 0.1 micron for that the opening. So that kind of application is for special for that kind of injection is for very sensitive that the job testing on the very sensitive on that substance. For example, is some kind of fire eye sensing something like that. On that kind of application, the balance, of course, you have to pass on first, but you adjust the balance, and then you can see no any effect on that actually is no any effect on that the pipette tip, the liquid. Usually on that kind of small pipette opening for that the injection, we cannot use the suction for that suck that the drop back. We usually use the handheld that kind of pipette to on the backfill on that the pipette first, and backfill that the drop inside the pipette, and then use the injection, a very high pressure injection to inject very tiny. Usually that's the pickle injection for that the very sensitive substance for that the testing and experience. Now I can show up as say why now we set up the balance. So whatever the balance you don't care. Say is usually is set up as from 1 to 5 psi or something like that. Actually is no any effect on that. Say because the opening is too small. And then we back to the inject. You can see the inject is pressure is when right now set to 40. So see what happened. And then you can see, for example, if you backfilling on that the pipette, and then you can do the injection with the high pressure. So it's you can see this one. Say you can see the bubble comes out. That means even you use that high pressure inject, and then you can come up with the some injection. So that's the very small, very tiny pipette opening for that kind of injection. So you can see, then the injection up to 40 psi, and then you see the result comes out. Otherwise, so that kind of application is we're talking about very tiny, very sensitive for that the drop testing. Here we change the different pipette opening. This pipette we see that the installation is the opening is around 2 micron to 5 micron. So it's on this application we can set that the balance to minimum, even turn on the vent function only, and then use the suction, very heavy suction. You can see that the red color is slowly suck up, and even can suck up higher than the taper portion and go to the unpulled portion. So we can see what happened on that injection on the unpulled portion. Here we can see that we use the pipette opening is around 2 micron to 5 micron, which is very recommended for very precisely quantity injection. So you can look at the screen. That kind of opening is about 2 to 5 micron opening, which is you can set up the balance. You can see the balance. Only turn on the vent function. You can turn off the balance, or you can turn on the balance to the minimum. There's no any effect, but minimum balance is only when function is on. So it's that means why we set up the balance so it's low, because we want that liquid and can holding on that unpulled portion. Say it's the principle is like this. Say it's more close to the tip, that the balance is higher. So when you try to keep that the liquid on the unpulled portion, you have to check, make that the balance fairly less. Say because in the unpulled portion, that the pipette is that the balance requirement is very small. Now we can you can see that the setup. You can see that the pipette right over there is now we already suck up. The pipette is let that the wet liquid up to the unpulled portion. So it's you can see what happened on that the injection. So it's you see that the liquid already on the unpulled portion. So it's now we can see what happened on that the injection. Say very precisely, one drop by one drop for that the injection. Say very precisely, one drop by one drop. Okay, and that kind of quantity is depending on how long you inject and how high the pressure you apply on it. Now it's make that the injection very precisely. Say it's no any suck back, no any I mean is on that the suck back incorrectly. So that's the why we can use that kind of 2 to 5 micron. That kind of pipette opening is very controllable. So it's remember, keep all the liquid up to the unpulled portion. So every time, and then you can see that inject is very precisely, very I mean there's no any suck back. But if you keep that the balance on the taper portion, every time you push the liquid out, will back to the taper portion, because after you push the liquid out, the liquid will less more close to the tip and make that the capillary action is stronger. They have to suck back the liquid. There's no any injection. So now in this case is we use that the pipette is the opening is larger than 10 micron and about 10 to 20 micron, and then we can see is what happened for that the balance function control. Usually that kind of application larger than 10 micron, 20 micron, something like that, we use to pick up some sperms. We use to transfer some liquid, something like that. And then we can see that the setup is we turn on the balance. We turn on the balance, and then we can see the balance, how to affect that the liquid on that the balance. So it's now we can make that the balance is very small. You can see the liquid and back to the pool portion. So if you increasing the balance, you can see the liquid slowly push out. You can see adjust the balance to see the liquid and in the simultaneous push out. So that means, say you can see is that the balance really affect the liquid inside that the pipette. So on the tip. So on this video, you can see exactly when you see the liquid up to the tip, the balance should be higher. And then if you less than balance, you can see the liquid will suck back. On that kind of application, you can use this function to suck back something, suck back the sperm, something like that, and then push out the sperm to increasing that balance, something like that. So it's for example, and then you adjust the balance to the almost to the tip, and then you move. You can use the joystick to move the pipe. On that kind of application, you can use the joystick to control the pipette tip to try to catch something. For example, you try to catch the sperm after you're on the right position, right location, and then now you can see the we set up the balance is 1.6. That means, say the liquid almost go to the tip, and then for example, if you find out the sperm or something you want to pick up, and then you press the vent kit, you see what happened. Okay, when you press the vent kit, see, that's a suction. When you push back the vent kit, that's a push out. So very convenient to pick up the the sperm or something like that, a small object, and then pick up, and then push out, and pick up, and then you can push out. Very convenient. And then you can adjust the balance to adjust the suction and the liquid level on the tip. So that's the 10 to 20 micron and up to 25 micron. That kind of opening is how to use that the balance. Say is you can see this one, you just adjust the balance, you can push the liquid out, you can suck back something, very convenient. So even though you adjust this one, and then you can press the vent key and quickly suck back, okay? And then you push up, very convenient. The balance for the microinjection is so important. Now I show you is with the balance and without the balance. What's the difference? So on this screens, you see that the with the balance, and then you press the inject and then stop on the right time. When you stop it, and then stop it. So without the balance, so you turn off the balance, you see what happened. So you press the inject, even though the inject you already stopped, but the injection still going on. What happened? Because without the balance, the inject pressure will buffer on that pipette and also on the tubing, make that the injection is unstopped, uncontrollable. So every time you have to turn on the balance, say immediately stop, because the balance will balance all the buffer pressure inside, and also against the capillary action.